Well, hello there ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of my Transport Fever series here on White Valley. In today's episode, episode number 14, we're still going to continue on with the passenger grind. We've got a few issues which we need to go ahead and address. So first of all, at the end of the last episode, we completed our new railway line here from Maidstone all the way around to our capital Hetton, and it follows this brand new line which we have built. However, with that, there has come a few issues on the tracks at least, which we're going to start off by resolving. So as much as I love this junction here, I was noticing a lot of traffic. If we come into this view here, we can see that there is 3 different railway lines using this junction, I guess you could say. We've also got a bus line which is affected then by, I guess, the trains queuing up, which can be very much a bit of a problem. So we're going to have to build a flyover in this episode. Additionally, later on in the episode, I want to go ahead and get Prince Dobster going as well. It's got a train station but no train, and it's probably going to need a tram itself. And then Doncaster could probably get away without a tram, to be fair, to start off with. However, I might build something basic, though we'll see as we get to that stage. On top of this, I'm going to go ahead and delete some routes and modify some routes which I guess are a little less valid now, just because we have now got some more railway lines in action. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is actually address how the route is doing, because I've got a feeling it should be in the positive quite quickly actually. So let's go ahead and have a look. So we're not quite there yet. The frequency isn't, it's not too bad, it's at 3 minutes. This rate column is new actually. I'm not 100% sure about this. At the end of the last episode, I did also mention that I want to go ahead and tidy up some of these routes, because there's a lot of them which aren't making good money at all. So as we can see, the Hetton to Maidstone, 61 passengers waiting, which is nice to see. I believe that is the train just pulled in here, so that came in with over 60 passengers and should depart with over 60 passengers as well, which is nice to see. Doing it at a relatively good frequency. That frequency can very much be increased as time goes on. So I want to go ahead and address some of these routes which are just not doing very well at all. So let's go to the Kendal Maidstone line. I can already tell why this route is not doing very well. One, the demand. There's no need for a demand of these size of trains. We've got 112 passengers in each. However, I'm getting nowhere near that. Realistically, the highest there is 44, so I could quite easily get away with 80-seater trains. That would probably be a bit more realistic. On top of that, Kendal isn't very well connected up right now, so what we're going to do is we're maybe going to make a change actually. I'm going to downgrade the trains to something a little bit different, something a little bit smaller, probably a little bit cheaper as well. We're very much in the age now, 2011, where we're pretty much just going to be going all electrical, and I always build my lines all electrical just in case. So what I would like to do is, it looks like these are using the SNCF class trains. And it looks like, based on the 2 that is located there, it's probably these ones here, 112 passengers. So they've got quite a large upkeep per year. They've got an upkeep of, it looks like, 200 and over 200. I need to say my numbers right, eh? 2.3 million pretty much. However, we can definitely go ahead and downgrade this to maybe 72 seats, and that would be ideal. That is a slightly lower running cost, and I think we're going to go for that. So let's go ahead and add that there, and then I just want to go ahead and automatic replace, or replace now actually, I think is the better idea. So that will save some money on that route, arguably not a lot though. What I need to do is really go ahead and connect up Kendal that bit better. So coming down to Kendal, Kendal is a large town. However, as we can see, the sphere of influence of the train station isn't that great. So we're going to go ahead and address that nice and easily. Now, I could go ahead and have a tram going right round the town. However, I think I'm just going to do a point-to-point of some sort. However, I'm not at all sure the best route to actually do it. I've got a route in my head. If you follow my mouse here, we come down from the train station along, loop back up, and then come down this side of town, along the main street, I guess you could say. And then we can have the bus station round about here maybe. and this can be used then later down the line to, I'm not really at all sure actually, connect up other parts or other towns that are maybe not going to be connected by rail, but because all the towns are so far away, I can see rail connection being the only connection between towns. So we'll just go for it anyway. Let's go ahead and build ourselves we'll just go for quite a small station. Tram tracks, electric, yes. Going to build it at this junction here, and we're going to go for a nice wee small station in like that. So from this, let's go ahead and build backwards now. So what I want to do is very much go for medium streets. There's not a lot of traffic in this town. You've got to consider it is 2011 as well, so a lot of people are wanting to use public transport. So we need to go ahead and I guess make use of this. So bus lanes, no. Tram lines, yes. It's amazing how cheap it is, because currently right now in Edinburgh is the nearest city to me where I'm staying. I used to live in Edinburgh. Unfortunately right now I live back at home with my parents. I did live in Edinburgh, and Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland. The one thing I would say though is that Edinburgh has suffered unfortunately due to very bad management with trams. We have our first tram line, which there's no need for a tram line because Edinburgh has such a good bus system and a very cheap bus system at that. But they introduced trams into our city, connecting up the city centre and the airport. Now, they thought that this would work well, however, it landed up, instead of costing the original about 350 million, it instead came out costing about 1.1 billion, and the amount of money that the government had to borrow for it, or the Edinburgh City Council if you will, they had to borrow so much money that interest rates for a while were also higher than the profit the tram was bringing in. Fortunately, tram is getting a little bit more profitable now, however, it's just, it was a very badly managed project. A lot of people did get fired for it, and there is a lot of inquiries going on, but essentially the project cost 3.5 times the original price it should have. So as you can tell, the trams really haven't gone down too well in Edinburgh at all. Trams are nice to have though. They do use I believe it is the Citadis trams that you get in this game. Might be a slightly different version number, but they are very modern and very nice. Anyway, moving on from that right now, let's go ahead and, I guess, build this line. That's the first thing we need to do, and then get some trams on the go as well. So from Lower Kendal, King's Road, to Richmond Road, to Albert Road, and then this is just going to be a circle of sorts. So we're going to come round to Highfield Road, it's going to stop at North Street, and then it's going to go back round Albert Road, down to Richmond Road, back to King's Road, and then back into Lower Kendal, which is nice and easy to do. So that route pretty much serves the majority of the town. The majority of the town are relatively close to a station. Could possibly have a station up here, but we'll just see how the town expands and we'll modify the route as required. So let's go ahead and do CC Kendal. CC stands for like City Connect. That's always been a naming principle I've had. Though I'm not at all sure if I've gone for, with this, trams. I've actually gone for TR, which isn't the best, so we're going to have to rename that already. I guess sometimes I use CC. I use that for buses as well. Tram, TR, nice and easy. They have actually changed a lot of this game since I've played it with regards to the filtering. You can actually search for lines now, which is really good. So these features are, I guess, new to the series and weren't really a thing beforehand. As we can see, most of our trams are in the profit except the TR for Bangor, though I'm going to change that to Banger, and I'm pretty sure I originally called it Banger, but it's not got a very high frequency at all and it stops in a lot of places, so I can see why that's unprofitable. Anyway, let's go ahead and get a tram house in somewhere here. Let's go into our tram depot. I'm going to place a tram depot down here, just like so, and let's go ahead and get some trams. Now, time has really moved on, so I could go for something like the Citadis, however, their running cost is 113k per year. I can't really see myself getting anywhere near that, so I'm going to use the Cobras, and we're only going to start off with 3 Cobras in Kendal. I think that should be enough, and it's saying that there's unable to find the electrical path. However, it all should be electrical, so I don't really see what the issue is at all here. It's to do with Lower Kendal and King's Road. Is this not electrical? It's not electrical. There we go. Right, that solves the problem there. Much easier. They've really updated the warning system to actually be able to indicate the problem much better. That is a great improvement, because very much before I would often spend 10-15 minutes, especially to do with trains, going ahead and debugging problems, and it would take a very long time. Right, so they're on the move now, so hopefully this new tram line should have some effect anyway on the train, which we want to make a little bit more profitable. As I said, it was at about minus 4 million, 4.5 million at the start of this episode, so it's going to take a while for it to change. It's already down to 3.3 million, so that has made a little bit of a change. It is relatively frequent, and I do expect it to get busier and more profitable as time goes on. Right, so that's that issue resolved. The next thing I want to do is deal with this Burnham-Hetton, because this line is too unprofitable for my liking. I very much think it's a train choice. So Burnham is a big station and it needs a lot of services. This has a line going up to Hampstead and then our line going round to Maidstone. Arguably the Maidstone line probably will be a lot less busier now, just because we've got a direct train going from Hetton. However, I think we can go ahead and change some of these trains up. Let's go ahead and do that. Interestingly, the Burnham to Maidstone is also doing very, very poor, but that goes via Telscom, so I was expecting that to be a little bit more profitable. However, these trains must be very empty. They're really not that empty though. Very unsure about that. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into here. Let's go into vehicle replacements. I'm going to go for 3 trains on this route. That's one thing I'm going to go for, but also quite small trains again. Right now these large trains carry up to 183 people, but realistically we've got 32 and 46 on this, so I say if we maybe go for some of these 72 car trains again, or maybe 92, 72, 72 would maybe be better, so let's go ahead and go for this, and let's add 3 of these, so that'll also up the frequency, so let's go ahead and do that. So that will go ahead and it should improve my running costs. And then I also want to add on a 3rd one here from the engine house. So let's go into buy trains, multiple units, scroll down here, and it is this one here. So let's buy one of these. 11.1 million, not too bad. Fortunately we do have the money, and it's the Burnham to Hetton this is going on to. So there's the 3rd train, and voila. This is interesting actually as well, the entrance, yes, this is the last time the long train will run. It's a very, very, very long train in fact actually. It is a really nice train, mind you. It must have been one of these old intercity high-speed trains. Not actually at all sure what the train itself is, but it is very nice. I do like it a lot. It reminds me of American trains actually, you know that? It really does. Not exactly probably the fastest, it's not really optimized I guess for like the wind travel and stuff like that. Anyway, moving on from that, that is that dealt with for now. So what other, I guess, major issues are there? Looking at the buses actually moving away from trains, we've got a lot of people waiting on the bus here. So this is the bus to Telscom. And this bus route needs to be removed. Although it is very popular, and in general the buses are still doing very well. There's a lot which are sort of redundant right now, and hence why we don't actually have a lot left. Having a look, we've got Coburn to Maidstone. That bus route is still required, very much so, I think. Even though we've got a railway line going round there, I think it is worth it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these buses out, which are ancient and can only carry about 28 people. We're going to go ahead and upgrade these with the intercity buses. Intercity bus 2 can carry 48, can go much faster. Yes, it does cost quite a bit more money with regards to running costs, however I do definitely think it's worth it. So let's go ahead and put them in there and keep the 5 on there. Hampstead to Bawtry, that's up here. This is an area I do want to work on at some points, but for now that route is doing fine. What I want to do eventually is, as we can see, we've got a train line from Chorley which goes up to Portishead and Bawtry. I want a railway line coming from Bawtry, if possible, down round the farm and then coming in to Hampstead Station here, which that is really bugging me. That needs a capital H ASAP. The only downfall is that Hampstead itself, it has grown a lot, as we can see, so it needs some internal connections, and the train station needs to expand, and there's not a lot of room for that, so that could cause some problems when we get to that stage. Right, okay, so that bus is fine. So it's the Portishead bus, that bus is being addressed. The Coburn to Hetton, I mean, it's doing fine for now, so we'll leave it. Hetton to Telscombe, this is the one which I kind of want to address, so do we need it anymore? I don't really think we do need it anymore, if I'm being realistic. I really don't think we do. Just because we've got adequate trains, we've got a train now to Maidstone, which you could change at Maidstone. We've also got a train up to Burnham, and that is one of the routes right now from Burnham to Maidstone, which is actually quite negative in cash flow, as we can see, minus 2.6 million. So I think we could go ahead and delete that whole route and actually improve upon that, though that is going to have a knock-on effect with internal transport in Hetton here, which we are going to have to address. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sell all the vehicles when they arrive at the depot and then delete the route. So that's going to come quite a shock for people. However, we're going to have to go ahead and up the internal transport connections in Hetton, because Hetton has grown, and Hetton is very, very important just due to the fact that it has two of our main train stations. Right, so people are moaning there, that's the Hetton Machine Factory. I'm not at all sure why, but we'll address that issue in a second. We'll do industry in the next episode because it does need address, but it needs a lot of time. So we're going to be looking at the TR Hetton right now. This colour is unseeable, so let's go ahead and change that to red. So that's the current tram route, which isn't bad. However, I think we might need a second tram route just based on the fact that, or we need to extend this tram route, just because the town has really outgrown this. So let me go ahead and just check this stop. There's a lot of people waiting on the tram. I think we could do with either a higher frequency of tram, which I think we could do with, and also better trams. We could upgrade to the Cobras, and I think that's what we'll do. So right now let's go ahead and see. I think we're running the Mirage B46s, which can carry 23 passengers. Cobras can carry up to 30. The running cost difference is 25k, however the Citadis is nearly double the Cobra, but it does carry a lot more passengers. For now we're going to go for Cobra upgrades. We're going to change the default colour, I think actually, to red, and then we're going to go for the replacements right now, like so, and then I'm going to add 2 new trams in as well. I think that's worth it. So let's go ahead and buy trams, add 2 Cobras, make them red, and then buy, and then let's go ahead and add them into the TR Hetton tram route. So that should go ahead and increase capacity and make more money on that route. Though, should we modify it or should I build a new tram line? The bottom line is, a lot of this town, especially over to this right hand side, and I guess the top of the town here too, is probably lacking on transport links, which I could improve quite easily, and that's what I'm going to do. So after having a look around at the town, I think I know what I'm going to do. So currently we've got this red tram line which mainly goes to the left of the city. I'm going to expand that a little bit, but we're also going to have one which goes from the Bayside and it's going to come up the right of the city, wrap around and then end in the centre as well. So pretty much all the town is served just by 2 separate lines. This will also go ahead and mean that there shouldn't be as much pressure on Tram Route 1, and instead it'll be split between TR Hetton 1 and TR Hetton 2. So let's go ahead and plan out this route. I've got an idea of what I want to do, however, we can go ahead, and those are new trams, and those are good trams from what I remember. So we'll have a go and maybe put them in action. It depends. I know they carry a lot of people, like 64, but it really depends on the running costs for me. As we can still see though, we've got a lot of build up at the station, mainly for the bus out to Coburn Hetton though, so again the train demand maybe isn't quite there. So as we can see in green, this is pretty much the route that it takes. I'm going to upgrade part of it and just go ahead and lower some of the traffic problems, because this town is struggling a tiny bit with some traffic issues right now. This is going to cost me a lot to upgrade, but I think it's worth it. So that's the red route in green, not red, kind of confusing. What we're going to do is we're going to have our turning circle here, This is going to destroy a lot of buildings, however it is needed, so that'll be our turning circle here, serving the train station. Then we're going to come along here, and then we're going to head up this back road here. We're going to weave a little bit, though I can't go that way, and I can't go that way. Problems already. Tell you what, we'll go up here instead, because that is much easier road to build up. We'll come into the centre a little bit, and then we'll start coming up this street here, destroying most of it in the process. We will then turn over to here. I want to build across this bridge. I knew the bridge would be the problem, but we'll come down this side here, build along into here if we can, and then we'll just have, again, use this turning circle in the centre of Hetton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place all the stops now, and I'm going to go ahead and get the line ready to deploy trams on. So there we have it. We have the TR Hetton 2 now in action, which is looking good. So with regards to the length of the route, it is slightly longer than the TR Hetton 1, however I'm going to modify that very shortly. As we can see, it pretty much just serves all the parts of the town which TR1 doesn't. So it comes up, as I said, this right hand side, jumps over this brand new bridge I had to build, wraps around, and then uses this turning circle right in the centre. Going the opposite way though, because I don't want to have trams queuing up. That's obviously going to affect our profit margins. So the next thing before we actually get some trams onto it is I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, we'll just get trams moving on it straight away. So as a good idea, we've got... There's some extra stops, but I think the same amount of trams would be ideal. So let's go for orange ones again. I don't know how the orange is going to look actually, but let's go ahead and buy 8 of those. So that's the same amount, and that should be 8 there. So we can go ahead and put that onto the TR Hetton 2. Again, that's to do with goods, which I'll address in the next episode. So that works out not too bad there at all. The next modification I want to go ahead and make though is with the TR1, because it needs to come along a bit further, I feel, just because the town has expanded out to this left hand side. So what we are going to do is we're going to go for another large street here, and we're going to continue on the building along here, though there is too much slope to build there and too much problems to build here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to controversially delete that whole block, and we're just going to relay this road from there to there, though again too much slope. I don't really see how there's too much slope, but there is too much slope supposedly. So let's go ahead and build that to there, and that should address the issue. I think I know why this is happening. I think it's because of this part of the road here. This is quite a mess, this amalgamation. There's 2 separate roads here, and it's not really ideal. So again, I'm going to spend lots of money there to go ahead and just remove all of that, which is quite controversial, but hey ho. That works out nicely like that. Then let's go for no and no, and let's build a new road going from here. If this game could hurry up and autosave. Arguably the autosaving is much better than it once was. Let's have that going into there like so. So similar to before, but just I've got rid of that extra road. So it can come along here, and it's just going to cut up one of these streets here. It's going to add in like 2 extra stops, maybe 3 at the most. Not too drastic a change anyway. And that should be okay. So what we'll have it is we'll have it cut up here, and then just rejoin like so. So we're going to be removing this one stop here, which is called High Street. Quite an important street arguably. But then we're going to go ahead and replace it with a new stop here, and a new stop over here as well. And then that should do. So removing 1 and adding 2 new in, which isn't a problem at all. So I'm very quickly going to go ahead and make this modification. And there we have it, that is the modification made, and I'm going to go ahead and tidy up the road. So it just goes a little bit further out now. Looking at the overall tram map, as we can see, things are looking much nicer, and the town in general should be much better served. I'm checking this now, that looks like a very nice train. So 62% transport connection, excellent. I can imagine that has increased from before, and the population in general is probably just going to grow and grow. How are we doing on profitability wise? Well, the frequency is very similar, though arguably Hetton 1 still needs to upgrade, and Hetton 2's just started. 13, 5, 11, So I mean, not bad numbers to start with. Hopefully they will improve, or we can always downgrade to some lower trams. This route is definitely not going to be as busy, but it does connect up the suburbs of the town with the 2 train stations and the city centre. Right, so with that done now, not too much more I actually want to achieve in this episode. I want to go ahead and change this junction here. Doesn't look like there's problems right now, however there is ongoing problems here. Fortunately, they don't seem too bad, but it tends to be when the longer goods trains come along, that is when we have some problems. Maybe right now. Not at all actually. How are these trains doing? Relatively full. So yeah, we're doing not too bad at all here actually. But it's going to need to be tidied up, so I will tidy that up. In general terms of Hampstead, this is where I want to look to next, and then coming up here as well to Bangor, because it's not going to stay like this. Bangor is easier to say for me, so Bangor, there we go, not Bognor. The trains are overpopulated, it looks like. We've got a near enough full train there and a full train there. So we need to go ahead. We've got different size trains on this route actually, so that needs to be addressed. At Southgate it's going to be very busy as well, just because of the fact that it's getting all of this Spalding traffic as well, which arguably it could really be connected up now because it's got some demand to get people over to Southgate, which I presume want to continue on down to probably Hampstead, just because it is quite a big city. Hampstead itself, it really needs a lot of work, so we're going to go ahead and tackle that very, very shortly. The internal transport, there really isn't much. It is 2 bus routes which serve other towns, but there's obviously going to be traffic from those towns, so we need to start work on this town pronto, and we're going to very much do that in a few episodes' time. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. So just to recap, I guess, and go over what we have achieved. We have gone ahead and added in a new tram route in and around Kendal. That's where we started off at the start of this episode. As we can see, it's not too high in demand. The tram there with 5 people, a tram there with 1, and another one there with 6 people. So that route's not going to be in the profit. However, I think it will definitely grow as time goes on. TR Kendal, so we're minus 125,000 there, but that will increase as time goes on. More to the point, this railway route though, this is the one that was trying to make a lot more profitable. It was losing about 4 million at the start of this episode, and it's now in the profit, so that is really, really doing well, and I'm really glad about that. We've changed the trains, we've supported the trains a bit better, and as we can see, they're really actually doing really well on numbers now. Arguably, I could maybe have a slightly higher capacity trains. It's fluctuating in and out of profit, and the money that we're losing on the tram, I feel it's worth it because we're now making the train itself much more profitable. I just want to see how many people come out the station and go to the tram stop, because that would be very interesting. Because I imagine it is going to be quite a lot of people just wanting to go around the town. So that's up to pretty much a full tram load there. That's 25 people, so that is nice to see. Then once we finished that, we went ahead and we made some other train changes, one of them being here from Burnham all the way over to Hetton. How is this route doing? That is a very good question. Let's go ahead and check. So it's a Burnham to Hetton. It's still losing money. However, it's much more frequent than the 3 minutes it was, and it's not losing as much. It's only losing 500,000. And realistically, I can see that becoming profitable at some stage. That train with 39 people, and there's also a fair amount of people just got on a train here at the town of Burnham, which is nice to see. This train here has 19 people, so it will grow, it will get better. Then finally we went ahead and did the modifications to the trams, which, as we know, has gone down relatively well. The TR1 in Hetton is doing much better. The TR Hetton 2 is getting very close to profit, and I've got a feeling it will reach that very, very shortly. Anyway, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video, so please leave your comments down in the comment section below. Unfortunately, I am mass recording right now, 3 or 4 episodes at once, so any feedback you are giving me will be integrated, but not until a later stage. Go ahead and leave a like rating, and I guess that's it. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name is Bigfoot, and I'm out.